Hello everyone, I hope you're keeping fine. Today I'm going to give an introduction to Shakespeare's Macbeth, and the play has been prescribed for both Pearson Edexcel and Cambridge learners. The video presentation is brought to you by Aurora, the Realm of English Language and English Literature, and I'm Miss Rukhshana. The tragedy of Macbeth, commonly called Macbeth, is a play by William Shakespeare about a regicide and its aftermath. So a regicide is the action of killing a king. Macbeth is among the best known of William Shakespeare's tragedies, and it is the first English tragedy about Scotland. And it's frequently performed at both amateur and professional levels and has been adapted for operas, films, novels, comic books, and screen. It is believed to have been written somewhere between 603 and 607, with 606 the most likely date. It was first published in the folio of 1623, possibly from a prompt book, and Shakespeare was a playwright, as you know very well, not a historian actually. However, he knew that history provided great material for his plays. A war, conflict, ambition, the downfall of great rulers were very common in the 11th century society. And also, the 11th century Scotland was a violent and troubled country. Feuding families and clans fought to control trade and territory. Now, when you come across Romeo and Juliet, you find two feuding families, which are Capulet and the Montagues. The castle was the power base of each rival warlords, whom we call the Thanes. And also, political murder and revenge killings were commonplace. Is Macbeth real? Yes, the real Macbeth was born in 1005 and was governor of the Scottish province of Moray. He was a military commander for Duncan first, probably a cousin of his, and in 1040, Macbeth killed Duncan in battle and seized the throne. And he ruled Scotland for 17 years, during which time Scotland became comparatively peaceful and stable. In 1054, Siward Earl of Northumbria invaded parts of Scotland on behalf of Duncan's son Malcolm. He was supported by the King of England, Edward the Confessor. In 1057, Malcolm himself regained the rest of the kingdom after defeating and killing Macbeth in the Battle of Lunfannon. He then succeeded to the throne as Malcolm III. And then it's very important to find out the differences between the history versus fiction. Unlike the Macbeth in Shakespeare's play, the real Macbeth had a legitimate claim to the throne. And Banquo never existed, and the one from the Chronicles was an accomplice in Duncan's murder. The real Macbeth was a good ruler, not a tyrant, as the one depicted in the fiction. The real Macbeth was killed at Lunfannon as opposed to Dunsinane. So these are some of the differences between the historical facts and the fictional play. Let's also talk about the Gunpowder Plot. On the 5th November 1605, Guy Fawkes and a group of conspirators attempted to blow up Parliament. The plot is referred to in the play, that is in Act 2, Scene 3, line 50, when it says dire combustion. They wanted to bring down the British government and put a Catholic ruler on the throne. The plot was discovered and the men involved were killed as traitors. One of the conspirators was a favorite of the king. So Macbeth may be in part an analogy of the Gunpowder Plot with Cawdor as the traitor. So this is a map, and this will help you to identify certain settings and locations mentioned in Macbeth. For example, the Cawdor's castle and Mencheth, Glamis, Angus, and this is where Dancing Nan is. The final battle takes place in here, and this is Forest. So this is St. Combs Inch. And this map will help you and guide you to have a very clear picture in your mind about the places in the play. So the setting of Macbeth, the play opens with a fight between Norway and Scotland, and King Swenar of Norway wanted to invade King Duncan once Scotland, actually. The Norwegian king had managed to attack discontented Scotsmen to his army of invading Norwegians. And Macdonald was the leader of the rebel forces, allying themselves with the Norwegians. Among the rebels was the powerful wealthy Thane of Cawdor. So I'm not going to tell you the entire story, but there are appearances of witches, and then the scene of the bloody captain. Macbeth meets the witches, and then there's a Lady Macbeth's letter scene. So there are many scenes in the drama which are really interesting to read and even watch. Let's move on to another slide. This is another interesting part in Macbeth, that is the element of supernatural. So witches and the witchcraft, a witch mania characterized the Elizabethan era because most people believed in witches, and circulating pamphlets containing tales of witches and witchcrafts were the equivalent of today's popular newspapers, you know. So witches were said to have diabolical powers. They would predict the future, bring on night in the daytime, cause fogs and tempests, even kill animals, curse enemies with fatal, wasting diseases. They would cause nightmares and sterility, take demonic possession of any individual, and raise evil spirits by concocting a brew. So between 1560 and 603, hundreds of people, nearly all of the women, were convicted as witches and they were executed. So those who confessed to being witches did so under torture or because they were in the grip of delusions recognized today as psychiatric disorders. So the witches in Macbeth, they tell Macbeth that he is destined to be king and urge him to do the bloody things. But the witches never actually tell Macbeth to kill Duncan, but merely tempt him with the idea of becoming king. And they represent darkness, chaos, and confusion. The very famous quotation, fair is foul and foul is fair, is a contradiction. Their character is modeled after Norse mythology. Three fates, the name weird, fate, or simply future. So the witches are a supernatural element in the play who play a very important role in the drama. So finally, if you're interested in watching Macbeth, there are several adaptations. You have Orson Welles' 1948 adaptation, Roman Polanski's 1971 adaptation, Trevor Nunn's 1978 adaptation, and Justin Kurzel's 2015 adaptations. But always remember, I recommend you to watch the movie or watch the drama after you read it, because reading also makes you imagine the characters, and reading is something that you should not miss. So I hope that you enjoyed this video and got to know something about the play Macbeth. I'll bring you more videos in future. So stay tuned. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.